All right, beautiful people. Welcome. We are here again today. We are keeping this we're keeping this streak alive as far as showing up for the stream goes. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about self-control. We're going to be talking about how this entire healing journey, anxiety recovery, really all comes down to self-control at the end of the day. So that's going to be the topic for today's stream. I felt like it was a good one. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. We'll give it some time, let some people get in here to want to watch us live, and then we'll get started. It is about, let's see, 4:30 my time, so I feel like that's a decent time to stream. But yeah, we'll give it a minute, let some people get in here, and then we'll get going. Full comment set over here. Maddie, is Maddie going to be first in chat today? I think so. I think so. You've missed the past few, but now you are here first today. You are ready today. You are ready today, Maddie. Welcome. How are you doing? I originally was going to spend a day getting caught up on yard work, but it is pouring the rain outside. So, hello, welcome. How are you doing? Welcome. Love the profile picture. I'm so ready for the SH2 remake. Gonna be so good. I'm okay. Nice, nice. How are you? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Like I said, I was originally going to spend the entire day getting caught up on yard work, but it's pouring the rain outside, or has been. Everything is soaking wet, so that is not an option. I wish we had some rain. Is it drying out where you are, Maddie? Is it drying out over there? But yeah, we are going to be talking about self-control. Very, very simple to the point title today, self-control. That's what we're going to be talking about. Mostly things like compulsions, negative behaviors, things you do as a reaction to your anxiety that is not helping you long term and it's only hurting you, but you just can't seem to stop yourself from doing it. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We had a lot of comments yesterday in here from people about concerning compulsions, things like that. So I feel like it would be a good topic today. Also, can't wait. 2 months and a little remain. Yes, count it down. Count it down, man. Count it down. Finally cooling down a little. Yeah, it's like 80 here and humid from the rain, so it's really stuffy outside. It's not the best. Not the best. We got Mint in the chat. What's up, Mint? Hello. How are you doing? Yeah, we got Maddie in here as well. She was first. She was first in the chat today, so. Missed the last two, but then made sure to show up first today, so it makes up for it, right? Makes up for it. Do that. Some things around here. Joe, welcome to the stream. Hello. Hello, hello. Alright, guys, I think we can go ahead and get rolling on this one. What do you say? I think we can go ahead and get rolling on this one. We're going to be talking, like I said, about self-control today. That is going to be the topic. Yesterday we had a lot of good questions coming to the stream. A lot of those questions were about compulsions. So I feel like this would be a good one to talk about today. So self-control. We're just going to jump right into it. Right into it. Compulsions, right? Compulsions. The number one killer of people's recovery and their healing. Behaviors that are showing the brain that there is some danger where there's not some danger. Now, compulsions can be mental and physical, right? So, for example, some cliche examples of some mental compulsions could be trying to disprove thoughts, trying to fight with them, trying to use logic and reason against them, and you're just running in mental circles. The brain says this, and then you say that, and the brain says this, and you're trying really hard to disprove and fight against those thoughts in order to get them to go away, right? So, cliche example of mental compulsion. Um, Physical compulsion. Now, there is so many different physical compulsions that exist, but I'll just give a handful of examples here. It could be things like reassurance. It could be things like Google, getting on Google. So every time you feel a certain way, you jump online, you jump on Google and you try to find answers. Or it could be fleeing. Every time you're in a situation that you feel uncomfortable in, you get up and you try to get away from that situation. It could be something as simple as something like something you carry with you, right? Even just something you carry with you when you start to feel anxiety. So a physical compulsion is anything that a person does just because they're feeling anxious. If they weren't feeling anxious, they probably would not be doing said thing. Okay, now I know in my journey, anytime I started to feel overly anxious, I would do a whole set of different little compulsions that really were just not helping my brain learn at all. Some of those things were biting my nails. I'd go around biting my nails. I'd get really quiet. I was really bad for the freeze response. I would get really quiet. I would try to isolate myself. I would stop living. I would stop getting involved in things. I would freeze up, whether that would be in the bed or on the couch. So, got really quiet and to myself. Like I said, I was really bad for the freeze response. So, all these different behaviors doing are things that you are doing that you do have control over, but it feels like you don't because you've done them automatically and for so long. It's just your go-to responses, right? It's so ingrained in your brain that they're almost automatic at this point. So all these behaviors are things that you're actually choosing to do, even though I know it feels like you're not choosing to do them. It's just so automatic. But they are things you are choosing to do that you're only doing because you are anxious. Now, the problem with that is the brain has access to your senses, right? The brain can actually see you performing these compulsions. The brain can sense that you're doing these compulsions. The brain knows when your behaviors switch up, right? And the brain knows that you're doing it out of fear. So the problem with these compulsions is that it sends the wrong message to the brain. Now, anybody who's starting to feel anxious, instead of reaching for their go-to compulsions, instead of freezing up, like Mint said, one of mine was curling up in a chair in freeze mode, idly scrolling Instagram faster and faster, right? All these different little things that you do are sending a message to the brain that says, my person is in danger. And now we know logically you're not in any sort of danger, but when you respond to the anxiety in these ways, you are telling the brain that there is something wrong. And of course, what does that lead to down the road? In the moment, it might lead to temporary relief because you're giving in to the alarm. And the brain goes, oh, they gave in to the alarm. Okay, we're safe. They did something that made them safe. So in the moment, it might bring some relief, maybe just a little bit, and it might make you feel slightly better short term, but long term, it keeps your brain wired to send these alarms. So you're going to have more alarms to deal with in the future. And you can see why we always say, short term discomfort must go up because you're not going to feel like not doing your compulsions. Short term discomfort must go up for long term gain. Now, what does this all come down to? Since we're all pretty familiar now with compulsions, why they're bad news, what they're doing to the brain, since we're caught up on that now, how does this come full circle to the title of the stream, which is self-control? Okay, this comes full circle because, again, you're doing these compulsions, you feel like you don't have a choice, but you do. And that's why the title of this stream is self-control. It is really you versus your self-control here. These compulsions are what's telling the brain that something is wrong. These compulsions are what is keeping you in the anxiety cycle. And in order to break out of these compulsions, you're going to have to have a certain level of self-control. Now, self-control is something that you practice. It's something that you build. So what that would look like is you're in the moment. You start to feel really anxious because you got triggered by something. Maybe it's one of your usual triggers or whatever. And you really, everything in you, like every cell in your body, wants to respond to that anxiety with a compulsion. figure out what your compulsions are, right? But every cell in your body wants to respond to being triggered with a compulsion because that's the path you're used to taking. That is the current pattern, right? But we have to insert some pattern breaks, which fancy, it sounds fancy, but all that means is we have to insert some self-control and say, as bad as I want to freeze up, this is just an example, as bad as I want to freeze up and scroll my Instagram faster and faster right now, I'm actually going to do something far more productive, even though every cell in my body wants me to exclude myself from this situation, freeze up on the couch and just get on my phone and mindlessly scroll. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to go have a conversation with somebody, right, in my house, or I'm going to call a friend and talk about something unrelated, or I'm going to do something that's out of the norm for me, right? And you have to have a certain level of self-awareness, right? What do I normally do when I start to feel anxious? I'm going to do something different today, right? I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to show my brain something new, because apparently what I've been showing my brain for this long, not doing me any favors, right? Is apparently not doing you any favors. So it takes a large amount of self-control for a person to say, I'm feeling very anxious right now. And as bad as I want to get up and run from that and go do a compulsion, or freeze up and do a compulsion, or go for my usual compulsions, whatever they may be, I'm not gonna do that, right? And you can go at your own pace. I'm not saying you're never allowed to do another compulsion ever again, right? You guys are human. You're human beings. I'm not asking for something like impossible here. But you do want to start to throw a monkey wrench into these patterns. If the brain continues to see the same sort of behavioral response to the anxiety it gives you, it's going to continue to keep that relevant. So there's got to be some level of self-control for a person to come in and say, and again, go at your own pace, but it's got to be some certain level of self-control for a person to come in and say, as bad as I feel right now, and as much as I want to do this compulsion or these compulsions, I'm going a different way today, at least in this moment. Now, maybe it's only, and here, I'll even give you a little bit more grace. I'll give you a little bit more grace. Maybe it's only 30 minutes. Maybe it's only an hour that you choose not to do your compulsion. Maybe for right now, you're at the bottom of the barrel and it's only 5 minutes that you don't freeze up, or you don't flee, or you don't do your compulsion, right, in response to your anxiety. Maybe it's only 5 minutes, but at some point we got to get started on at least delaying these compulsions. Okay, and now that's just a little bit of grace. There will come the point where delaying is not enough. We need to get rid of the compulsions. So I understand when you're feeling triggered, when you're really up there on the anxiety scale, I understand that every cell in your body is going to want you to act certain ways. It's going to want you to do certain compulsions. I understand that as you don't do these compulsions, it feels like you're forcing yourself. I understand that. I get it's miserable, right? But it must be done. At some point it must be done. There's got to be some self-control that comes into the picture. I know it's way easier said than done, but at some point it must be done, right? Crystal says, can you describe a compulsion? Because when I do the whole like tapping on my shoulders or rubbing my arm, is that considered like compulsions? Anything you do because you're feeling anxious and you wouldn't normally be doing that, we can consider a compulsion. So there's thousands of compulsions. Now, again, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. You can never do another compulsion again or you won't recover. That's not what we're saying, right? But you do want to become more self-aware. A compulsion is technically anything that a person does only because they're feeling anxious, right? It's something you do only because your anxiety levels are up. If you weren't doing it before your anxiety went up and now you're doing it, we can consider it a compulsion. It's a behavior that you're doing because you're feeling anxious. Does that make sense? It's a behavior that you're doing because the anxiety got switched on. You weren't doing it before the anxiety showed up, but then the anxiety showed up and now you're doing it. So you can see how that falls under compulsion, because you wouldn't be doing it if you weren't anxious, right? And now, personally, I think that's the best way to describe compulsions, because there's just so many that exist. We need to simplify it. I think that's the best way to simplify it. A compulsion is something that a person is only doing because they're feeling anxious, right? That's what we would consider a compulsion, because they weren't doing it before the anxiety showed up. So, yeah, there's so many compulsions that exist, guys, and I know you're human beings. I know you're human beings. You're not going to be perfect, and I'm not saying we got to eliminate every single compulsion that exists, or you're not going to make progress. I'm saying we have to have a big reduction in the amount of compulsions that you do. right? Am I saying that if you bite your fingernails because you got anxious on Tuesday, that your recovery just got set back a week? No, no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that compulsions cannot rule or dominate your life, right? Compulsions cannot rule or dominate your life if you want to make the most out of your recovery. So, again, I know when your anxiety reaches a certain level, when it reaches a certain point, you're just every cell in your body is going to be screaming at you to do your compulsions, whatever they may be. You'll have to figure that out on your own, right? But I know every cell in your body is going to be screaming at you to act and behave a certain way, aka do compulsions. And there's going to take a certain level of self control for you to say no. As much as I want to do those compulsions to kind of make myself feel a little bit better right now, no, I'm going to tolerate the discomfort. Today we're going a different way. Today we're going to give the middle finger to the anxiety and say, I'm not going to allow you to force me into changing how I was acting 10 minutes ago just because you showed up. I'm not going to allow you to force me into changing what I was doing and to drop what I was doing because you wanted to show up. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to send that message to my brain any longer, right? And that takes self control. That takes a person who has decided that they want to heal, they want to get better, and it's not worth living that way anymore. That takes a person who has decided that although their compulsions may self soothe them a little bit in the moment, it is not worth it long term, right? So, you're going to be sitting there going against your compulsions and probably sweating up a storm because you want so badly to flee or freeze up or to get quiet or to do this or get on Google or do that or whatever the case may be, whatever your compulsions are, you're going to want so badly to do those compulsions because that's the pattern of your brain, right? That is what your brain wants you to do. That's what you've done for so long. You're going to want so badly to do your compulsions, and you're not going to allow yourself to do them. And that comes down to self control. Right now, how do you learn self control? Well, it's just something you practice. It's just something you practice. Like I said, if you can put your compulsions off, let's say you're at the bottom of the barrel right now and you can put your compulsions off for maybe 30 minutes, right? That's something. That's something. So it's something you learn. It's something you learn. Um, and that's how you want to go about it. You want to go about it with some self control. You want to go about it with understanding that, yes, you could continue to do your compulsions, but it's going to continue to send the wrong message to your brain. Now, if you think about what the two keys are, they are live your life as if you're already healed and leave your thoughts and feelings alone, right? That's the two keys. If you think about what those two keys really boil down to, it boils down to no compulsions, right? So you want to fight with a thought, but you're just going to let it hang out instead. The moment you start to fight with it, you say, no, it can be there, right? It can be there. I can safely allow that to be there. You want to do your compulsions. You want to hop on Google. You want to freeze up. You want to mindlessly scroll on your phone faster and faster as you're getting more anxious. But you're going to calm your behaviors down instead, even though your body doesn't feel calm, right? So I get it, man. Compulsions ruled my life. Compulsions ruled my life. Okay. So, again, figure out what your compulsions are, right? Figure out what your compulsions are. Figure out if you're doing them in order to try to get away from the anxiety. That's a good way to determine if it's a compulsion or not. Because Mick gave a good example there. Like if you're shaking your leg, is that going to be the end of your recovery? No. But if you're shaking your leg to check so that you didn't get a blood clot or nerve damage or whatever, it could be. Yeah. So another good way to just to make sure we're clear here, another good way to determine if it's a compulsion or not is to ask yourself if you're doing it out of an attempt to escape the anxiety, if you're doing it because the anxiety is forcing you to do it, right? Anything that you do in order to try to escape the anxiety or you're being forced to do it by the anxiety, you feel like you're being forced by the anxiety to do it. If anxiety is calling the shots, right, and you're doing it out of some sort of self-preservation to try to soothe yourself or get away from it, well, you consider it a compulsion, right? So anyway, guys, it's going to come down to building self-control. It's going to come down to saying, look, I could go this way, but I'm going to go this way. I could go this way, but I'm going to go this way. It's changing the pattern. It's breaking the pattern. It's changing the programming, right? Changing the programming. For so long, you've lived a certain way that this feels natural, right? It feels natural. It says if you desperately don't want to not do it because the uncertainty would be too uncomfortable or unbearable. Yes, a compulsion coming into something saying, oh, I really want to do the compulsion because if I don't do the compulsion, I don't think I can bear the uncertainty or the discomfort. It's compulsion. We want to build some tolerance there. We want to build some tolerance there and try to put that compulsion off. So thank you guys so much for watching today's stream. It's really good to see you guys in here. I think we had Travis pop in here. What's up, Travis? Haven't seen you in a minute. But thank you guys again, yeah, for watching this stream. I really appreciate it. We've had fun with these streams here recently. Thank you for being here. Last thing I want to say is, because I get this, excuse me, I get this question anytime I talk about compulsions. Last thing I want to say is some people will say it feels like I'm forcing myself to not do these compulsions. It will feel like that a little bit, right? It will feel like you're having to use some force to not do these compulsions because everything in you wants to do these compulsions. So it might feel like it's taking a little bit of force to not do these compulsions, and that's okay. I wouldn't call it force. I'd just call it making a new decision, right? And sometimes making new decisions is uncomfortable and it requires you to kind of make yourself stick to that new decision. You kind of have to make yourself stick to that new decision. So, but yeah, guys, that is it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope somebody out there gets something out of it. Ultimately, I hope it helps somebody. So thank you so much for watching. We're going to hang out with chat now for a little bit. See what you guys are up to. Crystal, welcome to the stream. Kristen, hello, guys. We still got, hey, we got V in here today. Hello, V. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you guys. Travis, yeah, I think that's the Travis, right? I think that's the Travis, is it not? I think it is. I think it is. So yeah, man, I hope you guys are doing well today. How have you been doing, Mint? Good to see you. It's probably close to your, it's probably close to your bedtime, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, there was, thinking back to my own journey and just everything I've been through with anxiety, there were definitely times where I knew what I should do, and it felt like I just couldn't. I knew what I should do, and it felt like every cell of my body was telling me, no, we're not going to do the good behavior, we're going to do the bad behavior, right? For example, like even speaking up and talking to people, I wanted to, I knew I needed to, but it was like every cell of my body was like, no, you're not going to do that. We're not going to speak up right now. We're going to freeze, right? So I get it. I understand. Yes, I should be sleeping. Well, I appreciate you joining the stream. Always giving up your sleep for us. It's so kind. Throw yourself to the wolves. Yes, I actually have a stream entitled Throw Yourself to the Wolves. That's kind of what it feels like. I'm not going to lie to you. That's kind of what it feels like when you decide not to do your normal behaviors, your normal anxious behaviors. It feels like you're making a damn mistake, right? And I don't know how else to word that. It feels like you're making a huge mistake. And of course it does. Your brain believes that if you don't do your normal set pattern of behaviors and compulsions when you get anxious, the normal way that you act when you're anxious, your brain thinks if you don't do that, that you're in big trouble. That something bad is going to happen to you if you don't do that. So yeah, it does feel like you're throwing yourself to the wolves in a way. It does feel like you're making a huge mistake. I think that was the number one feeling that I got when I decided to turn against my compulsions in certain moments. Was I got that feeling of I'm making a big mistake here by not doing this compulsion. I'm putting myself at risk here, and you're not at any risk at all. And you need to prove to yourself that you're not at any risk at all by not doing the compulsion and seeing that you still end up okay. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It feels like danger on purpose. Yes, exactly. That's a good way to put it, Kristen. It feels like you're choosing to go a dangerous route by not doing your compulsions, and you're not going a dangerous route at all, and you need to prove that to yourself, and most importantly you need to prove that to your brain. Basically, I internalized, if I feel like my heart is weak and weird, okay, let it explode then. It kills me, it never does. Yeah, more of the aggressive approach is fine. Anything that proves to a person that, look, I don't have to act anxious, even though I'm anxious. I don't have to change my behaviors or my day or the way that I live because I'm anxious, and it's not dangerous to do that. You're proving to yourself, excuse me, a little bit of a burp there. You're proving to yourself that you're not in any sort of danger by going against your compulsions. You're proving to yourself that the worst that's going to happen is you're going to feel anxiety, yes, but you can handle that anxiety and you're not going to die from it. You're not going to go crazy from it. Nothing extremely bad is going to happen and you can handle it. That is ultimately what you're proving to yourself. You're proving to yourself that even without your compulsions, you're not at any risk, right? People believe that without their compulsions, they're at risk. People believe that if they don't act a certain way when they feel anxious, then they're going to be at risk. So you are proving to yourself that it's not risky at all to go against your normal compulsions and anxious behaviors. That is what you're proving to yourself. And the only way you can really do that is to find that out for yourself, right? Find that out for yourself. Let's see. My chat is being extremely... Okay, there we go. Fixed it. Exactly how I feel walking in a big store. My legs feel like semen or jelly all at the same time, and my heart's racing. It's really stupid. It's hard not to walk out. It is hard to prove that to yourself, right? Again, big thank you, Wonder Bro. Absolutely, man. Been a little rough. Brain and body are a little off. Rick, I will finish that in a second. Rick, thank you so much for the $5 tip. Thank you, Rick. We'll see if we can start the streak up again today. If you enjoyed the stream and would like to support it, the PayPal is up here, or there's a link in the description. Thank you guys so much, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Internet high five. Show some love to Rick in the chat. We'll see if we can get our streak started again today. Thank you so much. What's up, Crystal? What's up, Jay? Good to see you guys. Thank you for the Purple Hearts, Crystal. Really appreciate it. I have more work to do because this off-state's got me to pick back up a bunch of worry and compulsions. And that's okay, man. That is perfectly fine. You're not going to be perfect. There's going to be ups and downs in your recovery. But the point, I think the bigger point is you've gotten started now. You're truly started down a great path. And now you're having some ups and downs. And that's okay. I've never met anyone who didn't have ups and downs during their journey. So be proud of how far you've come. And it's okay to accept that you need a little bit more work. That is fine. Thank you guys so much for all the Purple Hearts. Jennifer, Maddie, thank you guys. Jay, I can honestly say I'm completely healed. Thank you for everything, Wonder Bro. Guys, I was at the worst, and at the end of the day, just let it burn. That's all you got to do. It's the simple, let it be. Jay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your success with us. Yesterday, we had like three or four people come in here talking about their healing and how they were healed, and it was so awesome. And now we got Jay popping in today. I really appreciate you guys who have made progress or have healed and have moved on with your lives. I really appreciate when you pop back up in here and share your stories with everybody. It helps to motivate other people who are still going through it. So thank you so much, Jay, for popping in and sharing that with us. I really appreciate it. But I know regardless of circumstances, there's always a choice. So I work with what I got. Am I holding myself accountable best I can? Uncertainty cannot be solved with worry. I know that. I love that statement. Uncertainty cannot be solved with more worry, right? Let it be. Let it be. And everything in you is going to want to do compulsions. And that was really the point of this stream. Everything in you is going to want to do compulsions, but you know that for long-term success and healing, that's not the way you want to go anymore. So holding yourself accountable the best you can. I love to hear that. That is awesome, Mint. Best of luck. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, shout out to Rick. Thank you. Hope everyone's having a great day, not hanging. Typos, no worry, typos happen, right? It's fabulous, Crystal. It's good to see you, Jen. Thank you again, Rick, for the tip. It's okay to feel anxious. Look at it as your inner child looking for guidance instead of looking at it as an actual danger. True. That's a good way to put it. Mint, thank you so much. Internet high five. Mint, thank you so much for the $5 tip. I really appreciate you. That takes us to 10. We might start our streak again today. Thank you guys. Perp hearts in the chat from Mint and Rick. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support here on the streams. Thank you. I've been having fun doing the streams again. You guys have been supportive of the streams, so I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll become a thing again. We'll see what happens. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for the purple hearts. V, thank you for the purple hearts. Joe and Jennifer, thank you for the purple hearts. If you've got any questions, man, now's the time to ask them. Feel free to ask them. Maddie, thank you for the purple hearts. Thank you, thank you. You missed us. We've missed you. Of course, of course. Nothing but love. Nothing but love. Wish I could give more often because I think what you're doing is really important. Hey, it's always optional. It's always optional. Always optional. I just appreciate you guys being here and watching. Barbados in the house. Thanks, bro. Hello, welcome. Good to see you. He'll disappear on us again. It's possible. It's possible. This channel has helped me when I was in the thick of it. Thank you. Absolutely, no problem. I'll be honest with you guys. I did not plan to stream again, but Maddie has got me locked in her basement. Send help, please send help. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke, by the way. How can I see DPDR in a better way? I understand the whole concept about letting it just be. Ooh, chat's going fast. It's just everything that looks so odd. Is that pretty normal with DPDR? Yeah, I'd say well, that is DPDR, right? When everything seems or feels a bit off or looks a bit off. I've had people see DPDR in many different ways. I think the best way that you can possibly see it is as something completely harmless and as something that makes no difference to actual reality, right? Because a lot of people think that their DPDR is somehow messing with their reality or makes a difference to the reality. Reality has never changed. It's that currently with that symptom of DPDR, everything feels or looks a bit off, but nothing in reality is actually off. It's just a trick of the brain, right? Yeah, there's no problem with questions, Crystal. No problem with questions whatsoever. Send those questions. After sucking down this entire Powerade, it is time for my childlike bladder to kick in. Give me just a second. We'll finish this stream. We're at the half-hour mark, so give me just a second. Okay. Okay, thank you for being patient. Hello, everyone. At this point, for months, I've been avoiding. I just do like target picked up, drive ups, handle going in. How do you handle it? What did you say to yourself? So here's something that might help you out. This will sound defeating at first, but I promise by the time I'm finished, it won't feel defeating, or at least I don't think so. You're never, and this is just me being completely honest with you from my own personal experience, you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. You will never, ever, and this is a promise, you will never feel ready to go against your compulsions. So, like not going in somewhere, for example. You're never, ever going to get to the point where you feel ready to do that. And the reason I can say that is because I never felt ready. I felt scared. I felt nervous. I felt like I was making a huge mistake by going against my compulsions, for example. And you know what happened in the end? Victory, right? But you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready to do that. And if you wait until you feel ready to do that, you'll probably never do that, right? That's the thing. A lot of people waiting until they feel ready, but that's just, it's not going to happen. You're not going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready to go against your anxiety. You're never going to feel ready to go against your compulsions. You're never going to feel like you're making a smart choice by going against the anxiety, right? And the reason you're never going to feel that way is because that would be like saying, I'm going to go into this feeling like, oh, this is going to be such a good thing. This is going to be, yes, you can motivate yourself. You can absolutely motivate yourself. You can have that good accepting inner voice, you know, and then these things, but you're never going to feel like it's a good choice because the anxiety is going to basically be begging you to do your compulsions. It's basically going to be telling you that you have to do your compulsions. It's going to be telling you that by not doing your compulsions, you're making an unsafe and unwise decision. And that just comes with the territory. So you're not going to feel ready. Um, but in the end, if you go ahead and do it anyway and you kind of take that quote unquote leap of faith, you'll realize that it's the best decision you could have ever made, right? And you'll realize that in time. So I hope that helps you out. Yeah, most people, like Joe just said, most people find success with the sort of screw it attitude. Because waiting to feel ready doesn't work. I think it was Dr. Claire Weeks, who said, how was it that she worded it? And I'm paraphrasing here, but I believe she said, just go do the thing, right? That's what she said. She said, don't give yourself time to sit and think about it and dwell because you're going to talk yourself out of it. You're not going to feel ready. Just go do the thing. Mysterious figure can't see the face. Wonder Bro or Darth Vader. Hello, donkey. Hello. How are you doing? See if I can put on brighter screen. You just look up white screen or something. Of course, there's an ad. That should brighten it up a little bit. I think that's worth mentioning too, is that like where you say it just feels like total crap. I think I'm not saying you, but I think a lot of people get to the point where they're like thinking that they're going to be able to approach their anxiety in a way that it's not going to feel like crap, and that's also unrealistic. Like, it's going to feel like crap, right? I think you're better off just coming into it expecting that. Like, hey, this is going to feel like crap. It's going to feel like crap to go against my compulsions. It's going to feel like crap to go against the anxiety. It's going to feel like crap. So, coming into it, I used to say all the time, just go ahead and expect it in order to accept it, right? Because when you come into it with a bunch of these different wants, like maybe there's a way I can come into it that's not going to make it feel like crap, then you're going to be just brainstorming for a way around the anxiety and it just doesn't exist. So, yeah, expecting that it is going to feel like crap, expecting that you're not necessarily going to feel ready, but still making the same good choices, the same new choices anyway, right? I know it should the crap out of me. It's a one step at a time process. It's a one day, one step at a time, one moment at a time sometimes, right? You're not always going to be perfect, but you're never going to feel ready, and it is going to feel like crap. You might as well just go ahead and accept that part of it, because if you try to find a way around that, you'll be trying for a long time to try to find a way around that. So it's really just coming into it and saying, hey, you know what? This is not going to feel the greatest. This is not going to feel the best. I can handle it though, right? I can handle it. That's the important part. I can handle it. And you're proving to yourself that you can handle it. You're proving to yourself that you can handle it. Dolly, hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Had the biggest progress when the symptoms were so high that I had no safe zone/time. I was fed up and just started to do stuff anyway. Yeah, when you just get to the point where the symptoms are sort of there regardless, and you're like, you know what, they're here, and I could do compulsions, but what's it matter? They're here, so I'm just going to drop all that. I'm going to live my life according to how I want to live my life, and just take those thoughts and feelings with you. Of course, easier said than done, but healing is getting to a place where you don't care if anxiety is there or not. When it does show up, you allow it and accept it. You'll eventually lose interest in it with practice. I love it, Kristen. Love it. That's a good way to put it. Thank you for sharing that. through a real emergency, we would not feel symptoms because we would be busy dealing with the issue. Exactly. Exactly. It's going to make you feel like there's a real emergency, right? But there's never any real emergency. The stinky part of recovery, um, when the symptoms are not as high, but it's still kind of there. Yeah, you can go from a place where it's just really, really severe, right? We call that like the bottom of the barrel. And you can get to a place where symptoms are still there, they're just not as high, and nothing changes at that point, right? Nothing changes. So there's not a different way to approach it through the different stages of recovery. The solution will remain the same. Whatever's there is allowed to be there, right? Whatever there is allowed to be there, whether it's thoughts or feelings or symptoms, whatever the case may be, it's allowed to be there. And the fact that they're not as high, great, celebrate that. But if they were to become high again, or if you were to have your ups and downs, or whatever wants to be there today in this moment is allowed to be there. So we never change anything, we never adopt a different solution. It's always going to be the same understanding, the same solution. Keep it nice and simple. Whatever's there is allowed to be there. I'm going to go on with my day. I'm going to make better decisions, going to make better choices, not go for those compulsions, not be so quick to go for those compulsions, right? Whatever's there is allowed to be there, whether it's high, moderate, somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle. Never never confuse yourself by thinking that you're going to have to change up your approach. And I believe that's what we talked about a lot in yesterday's stream. Is to keep it nice and simple. Just keep living. Just keep living. Just keep moving forward. Doesn't matter what's there. Just keep moving forward. Thank you, absolutely, Dolly. Thank you for the question. Before Wonder Bro, I was doubting whether recovery is actually possible. After Wonder Bro, I'm doubting whether it is not. That's a good switch. Hope you're doing well today. Thank you for being here. We got I'd say about 10-ish minutes left in this one. So if anybody's got any questions, please feel free to send those. Can food be a compulsion? It's a good question. Again, I think it's important to kind of do some self-reflection and sort of ask yourself why you do the things you do, right? I think it's important to come into it with the mindset of, am I doing this because I really want to do this? Am I doing this because I'm trying to escape something? I'm trying to get away from something. I believe just about anything technically, truly can be considered a compulsion if the person comes into it with the intent of trying to make their anxiety go away, with the intent of trying to get away from something. I believe anything could be a compulsion if you look at it like that, right? Now, of course, when it comes to eating, if you're hungry, eat, right? If you need food, eat. But yeah, I think it's important just for a person to ask themselves, why am I doing the things that I'm doing, right? Why am I making the choice that I'm making right now? I know higher levels of anxiety can make a person lose their appetite, but at the same time, it could also be burning up a lot of energy, which makes a person feel like they need to eat. So it's really just going to come down to, it's going to come down to what your intent is behind it. Just about anything can be a compulsion. Anything can be yeah, exactly. Right, right. I never had any ear pressure. The ringing in the ears is probably one of the more common symptoms that I hear about, though. I will say that. Personally, I never had a lot of that. I had experienced it from time to time, but it was never anything that was out of control. How are you doing today, Callie? Eating a lot without having much appetite and not moving at all, so not burning too much energy, right? Yeah, I can see that. I could see that. Not a not a good combination, right? Less thinking is the overall solution. Reflection shouldn't go on more than maybe a minute or two. If you haven't figured out the answer to whatever you're pondering on after 2 minutes, time to take a break. I love it. Yeah, less thinking, just more living. We used to say that all the time here in the chat. Less thinking, more living. Now, when we say less thinking, we don't mean you're not going to have thoughts in your head, right? But less pondering, like the way Mint put it is perfect. Less pondering over that. Doing good, Wonder Bro. Just tuning in, didn't get a notification, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the notification bell. It hardly ever works. It hardly ever works. And get back in and ponder another 2 minutes at a later time. Yeah, delaying, right? Delaying compulsions. If cutting compulsions is just not an option for you at the moment, delaying compulsions could be, could be. Hey, what's up, Lick? It's a name I haven't seen in a while. Do you still stream video games? I haven't streamed a video game in a long, long time. It's been a minute. Wonder, guess what I'm eating? What are you eating, Maddie? Cow's tongue? It's also how normal, healthy problem solving works. Thank you for sharing all the insights, Mint. I'm sure it helps everybody out. Joe, thank you so much. Joe, Jojo, thank you so much for the $6 tip. I really appreciate it. That takes us to 16 today. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Shout out to these guys in the chat, man. Rick and Mint and Joe. Drop some purple hearts for these guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. guys are awesome. Thank you. No, not today. Homemade Reese cups? That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Thank you for the purple hearts, Maddie. My ex-wife likes eating pig's tongue. I've never ate any form of tongue. Uh, Dolly, thank you for the purple hearts. Mint, B, Joe, thank you guys. Love and gratitude to our tippers and supporters today. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Rick, for the purple hearts. Cow tongue is delicious. I would not know. I would not know. I've never been down that road. Thank you guys. Thank all of you for the purple hearts, man. Thank you for the supporters today. I really appreciate it. Maybe you should try to get Maddie to hold you hostage after all. After the cow tongue thing, probably not. If it was just homemade Reese cups, maybe. Maybe. Severe anxiety can make you feel so unreal. It can be very lonely existence. It can make you feel like you're a special case, but I call it special case syndrome. Everyone I've spoken to, at least in the 8 years that I've been doing this, all thinks they're a special case, right? I'm not talking about you, Ian, but specifically, but just about everyone I've spoken to thinks they're some sort of a special case in some way, because it does feel unique. It does feel like you're the only one that could possibly be feeling that way. It's just not true. Maybe not for the cow tongue. Yes, I'll pass on that. Maybe if it was just homemade Reese cups, that would be a different story. But the cow tongue, I don't know about that. I don't know. It might be a bit much for me. How the heck have you never had a tongue burrito? A tongue burrito. I can't be the only one who thinks that is crazy. What is up, Tom? My brother recommended me your stuff after a real bad anxiety time recently. Got me through and still keeping up with the advice. Much love. Well, thank you for popping in, Tom. It's good to see you here, dude. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. What's up, Chris? Can I heal even after an allergic inflammatory inside my inner nose airways that prevents full air coming in, or thinking I can't recover due to this is just a bluff? You can definitely recover. Think about it like this. Here, I will put your worries at ease with one quick statement. Can you recover from anxiety because you're having an allergic thing going on inside of your nose airways that prevents full air coming in? Think about it like this. Think about it like this. There is thousands of people that deal with different sorts of medical conditions, right? Allergic this, allergic that. There's thousands of people that deal with all sorts of different diagnoses that are not sensitized, right? So absolutely you can, Chris. Absolutely you can. That's just your mind telling you that you can't. There's a lot of people out there that got a bunch of different medical situations going on and they're not sensitized. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. We are at that hour mark. Thank you guys so much for being here, man. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching today. We should be getting back on track with the videos here soon. I don't know. I never come up with plans, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching and just being here, man. I really appreciate it. Again, shout out to these guys right here, Joe, Mint, and Rick. Thank you guys so much. And I think that's everything. I love you guys. Thank you once more. And until next time, as always, stay awesome.